Alright, I guess it's about time to get started. Hi chat, how are you? Pretty good, I hope. I'm gonna start off by sharing a little funny story. For a little context of this story, I would like to mention real life, IRL. I am 6'8", or 207 centimeters. Actual measurements. That is important for the story, right? Okay, so I went swimming for the first time in a while, and and I got kicked in the teeth. 100% my fault, I want to say, because the deep end of this pool was only about 8 feet or so. So I was standing at the bottom, toying around. Oh, hello. New first time chatter. I don't know how to say your name. I don't want to mess it up. Ari? Oh god, that's probably so botched. Um, where was I? Right. So I'm standing at the bottom of this 8-foot pool. Someone took the name Aroy. It's alright. Actually, people never take my name. I had to change my name from the first time. What was it before? It was Solar Bell. I like that. It had a nice ring to it. Where was I telling a story? Right. I'm standing at the bottom of this 8-foot pool, and above me I see someone swimming. Sata and what does it mean? That's a food, right? Like Azumanga, like the anime? Oh no. I closed the reaction video. Oh, I don't think I've actually watched the anime.
What
I
is he
know I've
doing?
read. Oh,
What is
I know I've read some of the manga, but I don't think I've actually watched the anime. Is it fun? Should I watch it? Yeah. It was like, right. This show is full of lobotomy, like everything. Makes no sense. It sounds like my kind of humor, I'm not gonna lie. I think I would love it. Floating cat saying English. I actually think I've seen that clip a few times. I know exactly what you're talking about. I think that was the first time I saw. Oh my god. I think that was the first time I knew that that was an animation, that's been animated. It's quite funny. I was just doom scrolling on TikTok, and it's just surprise Aiden. I mean, ooh, I've seen that one too. Someone spammed that in my chat last time. Very interesting. America. Oh, what came after? It was a bunch of hellos, right? I gotta learn more memes. I think I should watch that in my free time. I completely lost track of this. Hello. I completely lost track of this story. Right. And standing at the bottom of this 8-foot deep pool, and above me, I see my older brother swimming. I have on goggles, so I'm not burning my eyes with chlorine. So I reach up to kind of tell him I'm under there, but end up grabbing his foot, and he just kicks me in the teeth, like absolute full send. Just foot right to face. Terrible experience. Absolutely. I got him back. As soon as I resurfaced, I came up behind him, I put him in a headlock, and I went under the water with him. It's the only way brothers act. I know, because I am super strong, big flex. So most of my time in the pool was spent picking up my siblings and cousins and throwing them around the pool like rag dolls. It's like I'm pulling off feats of strength, strong and powerful. Exactly. That is literally the perfect description. I know. I know one of my other siblings. He can't swim. So he decided that riding on my back would be a good idea while I went 8 feet underwater. It's like I was on miniature lifeguard duty, but also the reason why there needed to be a lifeguard. True chaotic neutral right there. What else? Right. So, what's up with the rich people events, right? Are they always boring? Because someone gave me some VIP tickets to attend a big old music festival, like called Spartan Day Tattoo or something. And it was just super boring. There was like one band that was really good, and the rest were like super subpar. Not to mention any of the food there. Barely food. But it was all like super expensive. And I felt bad if I didn't indulge a little bit, you know? That's just how it is sometimes. Right, where were we? So, reaction is what we were doing today. Let's see. Switch to... Boop. Here we go. Alright. I saw this earlier. Truly America, yeah. This. Family secretly films killer, then captures something shocking. I saw this earlier and I wanted to watch it, but I wanted to watch it with someone. Hence why I'm streaming. But I just want to say, getting caught in broad daylight, kinda lame. Me personally, I could never. Not that I
What is he doing?
would or anything.
What is he taking off?
He's taking off. He has gloves.
He has gloves.
He has gloves
He has
in
gloves.
his hands.
He has gloves.
Gloves and what else?
The
Oh
blanket.
my god, that is my blanket!
When 19-year-old
Oh my
Mia
goodness.
Marcano goes missing, it isn't the police who
Myself.
uncover the biggest clues.
Honestly, I talk so big, but probably so would I most likely. How did that close? What?
What is he doing?
Probably me too. I think I'd feel so bad committing a crime, I would subconsciously lead the exact evidence straight to my doorstep. I'd be all messy. I'd leave fingerprints on stuff. I'd drop my wallet. like with my ID and keys to my apartment. Just truly
Blanket.
phenomenal.
When 19-year-old Mia Marcano goes missing, it isn't the police who uncover the biggest clues about what happened to her, but her family. In fact, it was through their own investigation that they would not only uncover a suspect, but it was
Oh?
Mia's family who, through their own determination, eventually caught the culprit on camera.
I'm not gonna lie, being a trained professional to do detective work and getting outclassed by a small family with nothing but a car and a cell phone is kind of embarrassing.
In 2021, 19-year-old Mia had just started her second year at Valencia College, where she was pursuing an associate in arts degree. She was balancing her education and employment at the Arden
Associates in
Villas
arts
apartments
degree.
in Orlando,
So real.
some 200 miles away from her close-knit family in Broward County, Florida. She also lived at
Florida.
the same
Thanks.
apartments where she worked. Though they didn't know to be concerned at the time, Mia had recently asked several of her family members if they could come to Orlando for the weekend to see her. When no one could, she instead decided to fly home to Fort Lauderdale for a visit. Though her family was excited to have her back home, there was a chilling reason Mia felt.
Okay, so is my family the only family that'll like meet at a halfway point? Like we'll go to like a mutual airport in between the both of us and just kinda wait for the other one to get there. I can't be the only family that does that, right? It seems so irresponsible. Okay, great. That seems so irresponsible to not do.
Like she needed to get away. Not knowing what was about to unfold, her aunt Simone later
Oh.
recalled this.
I felt like she was a call for help when she asked us all to come this weekend and no one couldn't make it. I feel like it was a call for help and I wasn't there for her. I wasn't there for her.
At 5:06 p.m.
Oh, that's so
Friday, September
sad.
24th, 2021, Mia sent a text to say she was waiting for the Uber to take her to the airport before she would fly home. After this, she suddenly stopped responding. All calls to her phone went straight to voicemail, and all text messages said that they weren't delivered. Given that Mia was incredibly close with her family and kept in near constant contact with most of them, they likely noticed something was wrong within mere moments of it happening. However, it wasn't until a few hours later that her family became certain something was amiss.
Oh my.
Her grandmother and grandfather later
My family wouldn't know I was missing. I swear, I don't talk to them. I am a terrible family member. I'm pretty sure the only reason I keep in contact with my eldest brother is because he calls me at like 6 in the morning every morning to make sure I'm not dead. I completely forget to contact any of my families or siblings. Oh, I swear, they'd come to check up on me one day because I haven't been responding for 3 months. I think that's pretty normal. Wait another month, come to my house, and boom, I'm just laying on the ground. Flies are all around me and stuff.
spoke to a police officer and tried to explain her sense of urgency at the time.
I would say about 6 or 6:15. My husband and I left our husband to go out to dinner. I said, strange, Mia hasn't called me. I called. And the phone just said, calling mobile phone. So I figured if it was in the area we were in, it was downtown. So I called again, same thing. My stomach started to hurt me. I'm not psychic, but I can always tell when something is wrong. Because I wouldn't call Mia more than twice and she'd not answer. Even if she has to say, Mama, I'm doing something. Mama, can I call you right back? So I went to the airport. And I waited and waited and waited, and there was no Mia.
When Mia never
I
got
think
off
it's so
the
sweet
plane,
that she's so
it
worried about
confirmed
her
her
family.
family's worst fears. Little did they know things were only going to get more twisted from here. They reported her missing soon after, and one of her family members called 911.
I'm calling to find out if I can have a wellness check, please. For the address? Correct. I just wanted to know if an Uber picked her up or not. And then from then, her phone.
My family would never do that for me. Not that they don't love me, they wouldn't call a wellness check on me. That's just not something that would happen.
Has been completely shut off or dead. We're not sure. We had a friend go over, but they're knocking the door. Nobody's answering. I just want to make sure that she's not there. Okay, I mean, I can get a call sent up for a deputy to go out there, but a deputy is going to do the same thing. He's going to knock on the door, and if no one answers the door, he can't break down the door.
This call and lackluster response from police would set the tone for the investigation. An officer eventually did go to Mia's apartment at Arden Villas, but there was no answer when they knocked on Mia's bedroom door. When they tried to open the door, they found it locked from the inside. They then headed to the window from outside. Please note that the police department made redactions to the video, blacking out what the officer saw inside Mia's room. When they went around the front of the apartment, the officer was met by Mia's cousin Kaylee, who, after realizing that Mia's location was turned off on her phone, decided to take matters into her own hands and start looking for her.
No, she's definitely not in there. But,
She's not in there?
no.
Oh my.
Did you see like any you couldn't see inside?
Yeah, no, I saw inside.
Did you see like any bags?
I saw 2 suitcases under her.
Oh,
bed.
under her bed?
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm not sure.
So
if
she
that's-
didn't
I think
even
that
get
was
to
always
leave
there.
to the
Was it?
airport.
Yeah, but other than that,
Oh wow. I'm not gonna lie, getting stopped before you even get a chance to leave is crazy. I've paused
Did you
so
see, like,
many
a tote
times in the
down bed?
last 4 minutes.
I can't remember now.
You want to go?
Yeah,
She
it
literally
was.
brings it. If she was fine, she would bring
Really?
it.
Yeah, the room, it looked clean. Does anything look out of place?
The window, yeah. She opened the window. Yeah, you can see.
Oh my.
Yeah, like she opened it.
Ultimately, the officer left. Law enforcement would fail to recognize the urgency of Mia's case until later, perhaps only when it was already too late. With this less than helpful response from police, Mia's cousin Kaylee looked elsewhere for help.
And the security guard, Jay, was here. And we approached him, asked him if he knew anything. And he said yes, that he was here when the police were there. And we said, okay, like if you could please just accompany us so you could tell us about what happened when they were there.
Because they knew Mia's door was locked, Kaylee and Jay headed to the window that the officer had looked through.
Once we heard that the window was unlocked, we automatically knew that that was off because my cousin had installed the window locks on all of their windows to prevent anyone from opening it from the outside, especially with them being on the first floor.
Right.
When we went up to the back, he showed us the window, and we, of course, tried to avoid touching anything because we didn't want to interfere with anything. He did mention that he saw fingerprints and that he took some himself with some tape, because when he asked the police officers to take some that were there earlier, they said that they were not going to because it wasn't that type of case, I guess.
Later, the security guard...
You're telling me if there's a missing person and they have all kinds of security measures and none of them are active, and there are clear fingerprints around one of the spots of entry, the police just aren't going to take it if they don't see it necessary. That is so lame. Get me on the police force. I'll do that shit myself. Hold on.
would allege that when he tried to hand over the fingerprints, the deputy actually laughed and said, "This isn't a high-priority case."
What? Just, wow. This isn't a high priority case. Wow. That's just a new level of just why. That's like actually terrible. I think here's one thing I do know about my family. If my mother was ever in that scenario and they said this is not a high priority case, she would have gone to jail for assaulting an officer. Because,
However, this allegation
oh, you could not tell me that there are fingerprints all over one of my family members' apartments and they're missing. You're gonna say this is not high priority? What?
has never been proven. Jay's immediate frustration for how the scene and Mia's case was handled was palpable.
And now
I'd
I'm
be
getting
mad
mad
too.
because one of y'all deputies came out here, did not do the job that he was supposed to do. Me being a security guard, I should not have had to do the stuff that I did to have an officer come out here and look me in my face and tell me to keep the evidence that was lifted off the windowsill. Oh, a couple weeks from now, maybe we'll need it. No, you're supposed to take that now.
As strange as it was that the locks had been
That's
removed from
just-
Mia's window,
Oh, they were removed? I thought it was just unlocked. I didn't know they were like completely removed. Wow.
it was even stranger that through the window, Kaylee could see that Mia's bedroom door had actually been barricaded from the inside by a small bookcase. Then
And you're telling me the cops somehow didn't see this either? Get
You
me on the
noticed
phone. What is this?
something else that would later become integral.
While we were back there, I was looking at the parking lot, the woody area behind with the fence. We were like, why is there a chair behind the fence? He said, oh, that's been there for a long time. And I was like, it's kind of weird, though, because the placement of it looks directly into their windows. It's kind of at a slight angle. So that was a little bit concerning. But he was like, no, that chair's been there for a long time. So I was like, okay, no problem. While we were back there, he mentioned another thing that was odd to him was that most people in the guest parking lot don't park, like parallel park in this one corner, which made sense to me because there are parking spots that go straight there. So if you're parallel parked back there, they can't get out. So he said what was weird to him is that there was a large tire track.
This all seemed to hint that some awful fate had befallen Mia. But what exactly remained to be seen.
Into
That's,
the
like,
apartment, we all put on
terrible.
gloves and again asked Jay to come with us just to, I guess with the name security, he made us feel more secure having him there.
Yeah,
We went
that makes
in,
sense.
we went into her room, avoided touching anything, and we immediately noticed that her room was in a disarray, very out of character from Mia.
Didn't the cops just say her room? I'm starting to convince their quote-unquote investigation was opening up the window, looking left and right with their eyes closed, and leaving. Because what?
However, even more shocking was the sight of something still in her room.
She has her decorative pillows, her sleeping pillows, and then, of course, the king of the world, her Teddy. So Teddy usually sits right on the bed if he's not going with her wherever it is that she's going. If she's going to work, there's times that Teddy goes to work. Every trip, Teddy goes. Teddy's been on vacation with other people. Teddy has lived his life.
With this in mind, her family knew she wouldn't simply have left the bear behind.
Wow.
And yet Teddy was still in her room. This meant one thing. Mia hadn't left. She wasn't not answering her phone. And her phone wasn't simply dead. She had been taken. But the teddy
W movie, by the way. Love that movie. It's the best.
bear wasn't the most
Why does my screen keep
concerning
blinking
thing
like
discovered
that?
in Mia's room, as Kaylee explains.
When we walked in, the cubby that was blocking the door was in the walkway, and
Oh,
there
wow.
was her chain was busted. She usually wears two chains, one that says her name and then a second one that has a heart pendant. So I know the chain is the heart pendant one because the pendant was missing. And the Mia one would have two separate pieces. So we saw that her
Wow.
bangles. She has a lot of bangles, and they were given to her as gifts from like old family friends. So they're really sentimental for her. So to see them on the floor was a lot. To see them bent that way, I was like, okay, there's definitely something wrong here. Then we also noticed the blood on the pillow, and we were thinking like, of course you look at it and you're like thinking, well, maybe it could be old. But then we're like, but she would have tried to get that out, or she would have at least put a pillowcase on to cover it up, because you're not going to be sleeping on a naked, bloody pillow.
These people are putting in more true, genuine work than what Where are they, in Florida? You know what? That explains so much. Never mind. Continue on.
So that was a little bit concerning as well. After that, we continued to look around the room and found little bits and pieces that just kind of indicated that there was some type of struggle. The bed was moved. We could see the grooves in the carpet were different. They were here, and then the legs were pushed off. The bed head was kind of crooked. And then while examining underneath the bed, someone flipped over the rug.
I just want to say one more time that officer did not investigate at all. Even for like a welfare check, you should have noticed something was a little off.
She has a blue furry rug and found it.
And like, I get the whole, maybe he doesn't know her. How would he know what her habits are? I get that. But nothing else triggers any kind of alarms. You have to be a little silly.
Box cutter. When we saw that, we were like, okay, that definitely can't be Mia's.
The box cutter would turn out to be an important clue, as would the item they found in the trash.
Of course it would.
A single rose. Already feeling like Mia's disappearance wasn't receiving the kind of urgent attention they knew it needed, the rest of her family traveled the same day she was reported missing to gather at the Arden Villas apartments to continue the search, knowing that this was the last place she'd been seen. They would soon have a shocking and disturbing interaction. It's unclear exactly what happened in the moments prior, but one of Mia's family members began recording when someone else showed up, claiming to also be looking for Mia. The person recording kept their phone either in their pocket or their hand covered the camera, as we can't yet see what was happening until later. We can, however, hear the mysterious person talking with various members of Mia's family, including her father.
I'm too old for it. This is her friend Tati. Tati knows our relationship, I promise you. Nothing like that. Tati woke me up out of my sleep to come in to see if I saw anything, because we didn't know you guys were here. You're not hearing about this for the first time tonight. Yes, I was home.
That's so nice. Like, they're all coming together to find this one person. I don't need people like that.
Text messages?
Me and her haven't talked for like a few weeks. Like I told you, I try to fall back. I'm older than her, so I don't even have her number now. All serious.
The man speaking is 27-year-old Armando Manuel Caballero. Armando worked as a maintenance man at Arden Villas, and he met Mia when the two became co-workers. In fact, he'd started at Arden Villas right after Mia, around 2 months.
He better not be the culprit.
Prior to her disappearance. Now, around 3:45 a.m., approximately 10 hours after Mia was last seen, and though he lived at a different apartment complex, Armando was unexpectedly back at Arden Villas. This obviously struck Mia's family as odd, but the entire interaction would only become more concerning.
Where's her roommate? I'll even say, because I heard you had a recent conversation with her.
Though it isn't shown in the footage, Simone, Mia's aunt, witnessed something fall out of Armando's pocket when he first got out of his car, something that looked like a key fob. This would turn out to be crucial later.
I was seeking her wall and I dropped off the back end because I was called. Other than that, it's just work.
You never went in the apartment to fix anything?
Before I have, yes. We had to do all the apartments.
Because I noticed a lot of stuff, because I set up the apartment myself.
I know.
And I set up certain
and
things.
I seen you move.
Yeah, and I seen you already too. I seen you be.
Trust me, bro. I got all good vibes. I'm not like that.
Nah,
I wouldn't even came out here.
Yeah, but from what I'm hearing, I didn't hear nothing good about you yet.
Really?
I promise you.
What Armando didn't know was that because Mia...
Oh, wow. Oh, wait. She is super close to her family, so if he was a weirdo, they would obviously know. Do I need to talk to my family more? This is a Christmas special telling me I need to contact my family more.
Mia was so close to her family, they immediately recognized him as someone she'd told them about. And because of what she told them, they were likely suspicious when he showed up at Arden Villas.
You're sending her text messages like that, like trying to tell her, express your feelings for her.
As a regular thing, when the property was...
How is it a regular thing if you just said that you're older than her? Why is it a regular thing if you're expressing your feelings to her? Why is that?
I got
How is that
into
a
her
regular
Cash
thing?
App. Why'd you Cash App her that amount of money?
She said she had to help you.
She had to help me? My daughter would never tell you that.
On my soul, she told me that.
She would never tell you that.
On my soul, she said that.
But why? But you just told me that you haven't spoken to her for so long.
Yeah, because that was a
But then
while ago.
That was
The
a
Cash
while
App
ago.
was this week.
That
I
was
went
a
into her
while
Cash
ago.
App. I'm in her Cash App.
Oh, his story is falling apart. They ripping him to shreds. Get him.
That was this week.
You see, Mia had complained about
Yeah,
Armando,
break that story down.
though he told her family he didn't have her number and claimed to have last spoken to Mia a few weeks ago. It would soon be revealed that that wasn't even remotely true. Mia often took screenshots of the things Armando was texting her and sent it either to her family members or to her friends. This included when, in the week before she went missing, Armando sent her a random Cash App payment for the amount of $600. Though Mia declined the money, she sent a screenshot of the message Armando included with the payment to a group text with other Arden Villas employees, titled "Off the Casa." Armando wrote to Mia, "Mamas, good morning. I don't want you to feel any way about me giving you this. Like I said from before, you grew on me, and I feel I didn't have too much of a reason to be in your face unless I was making a difference, because I'm just a man and that's how I see it. From hearing you vent about your fam situation and hearing about how you're not able to live your life fully because of the difference in responsibility, and from the first few times I heard that, I've been planning and wanted to bless you. But it's not much, but it's yours. Enjoy it however you like. I don't want it back. Don't send it back. That was money I was putting up from turn to spend on dates or gifts for you. But I'd rather just give you the money so you could do what you actually need or want with it." Her friend responded to the screenshot, "It just sucks that he works with you because I would keep it, but if you don't do what he wants, he gonna act crazy." Mia's friend likely had no idea how true that was. Armando had an interesting explanation for the Cash App payment.
Oh, wow. Why would you go back to the scene of the crime, you big head dummy? Just
you because her mother didn't.
Look at him. Goofy ass face. Curved. Is his hairline even crooked? Okay, is that a zig line in his hairline? Terrible. Why are your eyebrows at an angle? Why is your face shape irregular? Let me leave him alone. That's so mean. I'm being so mean for no reason.
And when we was doing time, we've been friends already since June. And I know Rashid seen me hurt and Rashid chill. There's nothing there. I never came after hours. I never bothered her. Would I be willing to do a statement?
Did they take a statement from you earlier on?
I just found out she was missing.
You saw her today?
Just found out, but I found out a few hours ago.
And you saw her today?
At work, yes.
Have you done any work inside that apartment?
Not recently.
So when?
So who's the maintenance person that was in the apartment yesterday? Or 2 days ago? Somebody was maintenance.
You had to be there recently because you told me that you bought the fan there, so you was there recently.
This is an integral question. As Armando was in maintenance at Arden Villas, he
just can't keep his story straight. First of all, if he wanted to get away with the crime, he shouldn't even be there in the first place. Why am I giving him tips? What am I talking about? Oh, I'm over here looking down because I'm messing with my hair pick.
had an assigned key fob, which could access every single apartment, and that worked during business hours. For after-hours maintenance, an on-call key fob was shared among the maintenance staff, with the device in the possession of whomever was on call at the time. 3 days earlier, on Tuesday, September 21st, Armando had delivered some fans to Mia's apartment, as there'd been flooding. The maintenance request had been legitimate, but the troubling issue of Armando's access to her apartment hadn't escaped Mia's family members.
So you was there recently.
Tuesday.
So that was
So
this
you were
week.
in this apartment on Tuesday,
I didn't
right?
do work. I just dropped the vacuum on.
Bro, something ain't adding up, bro.
She had a leak from her living room to her room.
Coincidentally, like that just happened. You know what I'm saying? That just happened. That leak just all of a sudden just happened just out of the blue. Only in her
coming
room
from under
and
the
in the
slab.
thing.
I cannot. There's nothing I can physically do to do that.
All right, and the person who went in today too went through the window too. You know what I'm saying? All right, but you got access to that place though, right or wrong? Right or wrong?
You have
Find out.
Right or wrong? You have
Ask me a
access to
question.
it, right?
You have access to the apartment.
Oh, they is tearing him up. It would suck if he's not the perpetrator. Ooh.
Right? As a maintenance worker, you have access to the apartment.
Yeah.
And what is your protocol when you're going into the apartments? You guys just knock and go in?
We knock 2 or 3 times. We wait. Nobody answers. We open the door. We knock again. We stab the door. We wait. Nobody answers. Then we enter the apartment.
As police would soon find out, Armando isn't telling the truth here.
Oh.
Mia's family member, who has been recording this strange encounter, finally raises their phone and captures Armando in the footage. He can be seen standing next to an officer.
Oh my.
As of right now, you have sent obsessive texts to Mia. We have all seen the text. You talked about giving her your life savings. You cash out her money, and you claim that you weren't in touch.
Who told her give
It's
her
on
life
text.
savings? I never
As a
said
matter of
that.
fact, we're going to get a police report to pull your phone records if that's the case.
As it would turn out, because Mia had sent so many of the texts from
Wow.
Armando to her friends and family, the police didn't need to pull Armando's phone records to see that something was off.
There's evidence of obsession, of something. You're fascinated with
It's
Mia.
not only from my side, so don't try to make this.
No
like
one,
I'm a
no
stalker.
one's saying that. It takes.
She's not here to defend
there's-
herself right now, so
Obviously,
we
she's
gotta talk to
missing.
you.
So we're talking to
And
you,
I
who've been going
completely
back and
respect
forth
that. I
on
understand
text.
that.
Alright,
That is
so
your
cool.
family.
Right.
But until we figure out what's going on, just don't beat me up.
Nobody
No
ain't
one's
beating
beating
you
you
up.
If I'm guilty,
But
why
you
would I
put
come here?
yourself in the middle right here. You brought yourself over here.
The entire interaction with Armando out front of
Wow.
Arden Villas was odd, but what Armando said next did nothing but raise suspicions against him.
I have never done nothing bad to me. Wisdom. Never done it.
Huh?
The videos capturing this incident end abruptly after this.
Wow. He is like, you can tell he's stressed. And it's not even that type of worry stress. Ooh.
But Mia's aunt
Terrible.
describes what happened next.
Armando got in his car. The officer never searched the vehicle. I don't know if there's procedure. He never looked in the vehicle or touched anything, told him to wind down with nothing. The vehicle took off. They went to the maintenance room. They came back. Armando then left.
After driving
Wow.
away from the officer and Mia's family members, Armando was seen again driving around the buildings with his lights off. One of Mia's family members noticed something else that was incredibly concerning about Armando.
Yeah, I noticed. So it almost looked like he had bronzer on because this area was like it was puffed up and slightly
got
bruised,
beat
like
up.
reddish. But how it was dark in the night when the light, you could see, when skin is stretched to a point that it shines because with the swelling.
Knowing what they did of his fixation with Mia, his return to the Arden Villas
Is that why I was just roasting him? His face is swollen? That would make more sense.
apartments the same day that Mia went missing raised red flags for her family. Little did they know, Armando was hiding another, even more disturbing secret. The next
Oh my
day, there was
goodness.
still no sign of Mia anywhere, and it was only now that the police would begin to take the case seriously, though slowly. Someone from the Harris County Sheriff's Office even reached out to the Orange County Sheriff's Office about Mia's case, and there appeared to be a distinct lack of urgency.
Okay, I mean, it hasn't been turned over to a detective yet because it takes up to 5 business days.
How to consider someone lesser?
No, I mean, there is a case number already attached to this, and there is a case. I'm just saying that they don't have.
I just want to say, whoever just has this chair here is a freak. Thug. Get rid of him immediately.
It assigned to somebody, but that does. If we make contact with her and we run her name, we know she'll be missing because she's in the system as missing.
So who normally has? So you have a missing persons division?
This is considered a missing persons, and they're not open today. They'll be open on Monday.
As investigators finally started to look deeper into the case, they spoke with Marlon, Mia's father.
So my theory as to what happened is that she was in the bathroom, maybe she was now getting home. Either she was in the bathroom or she was now getting home, and the person was under the bed.
Wow. Oh.
Person was under the bed, and so they had the box cutter and everything. And either when she came in, they startled her, or when she was coming out of the bathroom. You understand?
Wow.
The person who we suspect is somebody who works here.
I heard about it. Okay.
Her family also gathered again, this time inside Arden Villas.
Police officers came and they said they weren't going to do
How are they
anything
doing?
but file a missing person report.
Right.
As an adult, they can't do an Amber
The fact
Alert
they're doing
because
better
she's
than the
over
actual
18.
police is
But according
embarrassing.
to that officer, this is a typical college room that doesn't seem to look obstructed or tampered with. He said they weren't going to do much until a couple days pass and it becomes more.
If you haven't got any information, if you haven't heard from her.
As news of Mia's disappearance spread, calls flooded in as people tried to give any helpful information to aid in the search.
And what do you want to report? We just got like a message saying that a girl had been missing since like 5 p.m. yesterday, and me and my roommate around, I'd say maybe like 7 p.m.
I'm so
and we heard,
invested in this.
like a girl and a guy, and they were screaming, like, but it didn't sound like good screams. It sounded like really bad screams. And we actually went downstairs to see if we could like find anything, and there we heard like a woman and a man screaming at each other, like arguing in an apartment on the first floor. I don't know if this would be helpful information, but it was something that stood out to us last night. And after hearing about a girl going missing today, I figured I should report it just in case it could help.
All of this was helpful, but Mia's family was already sure they had a suspect, Armando. Mia's family had been right. It did appear that Armando was obsessed with Mia. In one screen-recorded video, it can be seen that Armando was sending her long, multiple messages. Part of these messages say, quote, "You drew back, which I understand, because you a woman and you don't know me that well, so you need your boundaries. I know I come off strong and crazy." After screen-recording the messages, Mia sent the video to a group chat, writing, "When does it stop?" The issue of Armando's text messages would come up again and again as police began interviewing her friends.
And Jasmine, can you tell me what happened in a group chat between you, Mia, and the other individual?
Yes. So basically we have a group chat where we talk about like normal things that are happening. But in this chat, there's just been multiple times where Mia like will send over screenshots like we do of like people that we're talking to or just things like that. Sometimes complaining or just having issues with like Armando sending her long text messages out of the blue, emotional messages to her even when she was barely giving him like real responses back. Sending her long emotional messages, getting upset at her for not responding to him, all types of things. And from the start, her making it clear that,
oh, he's a weirdo! Get that freak out of here! Anyway, let's keep going.
Although she did find him attractive or whatever the case may be, she has never necessarily wanted anything serious with him. They have never dated. They've never been involved in any aspect like that.
That detail didn't seem to deter Armando. In one text to her friends, Mia wrote, "Then if I don't respond, we know he getting the paragraphs ready."
I always found it weird with that because I'm like, she's young, like she's 19, she's a freshman. I always found
she's
him
young,
weird
young.
because I'm like, this girl is like a young girl. She's not trying to be tied down with you, like, you know? And she made that very clear to him. So that's just the thing for me.
Did they ever have any altercations with each other or any kind of
fights?
Yeah.
They never had any fights. He was very much a like messagey type of person. Like I never had any situations in regards to like her telling me like, oh, they got into like an actual altercation. She did tell me that recently he tried to like make us not a scene, but like be petty towards her at work. He said it in a way like it was drawing attention because people were kind of like, dang, like, why'd you say it like that towards her or whatever? And she was like, in the chat we were talking about, like, that's crazy that he's trying to like show out and call you a weirdo and stuff when he's the one that sends you long, dramatic text messages every single day.
Mia sent a text to the group chat saying, "Y'all, I'm confused," and a screenshot of a message Armando sent her saying, "I don't got any more patience with you. You honestly showed me the type of person you are. Like you said, people fall for your looks. Well, I seen the type of person you are. I don't got the energy or the fakeness to tolerate giving myself to you, even as a friend. We two different kind of people." Armando also texted me a quote, "Just leave me alone if you don't have no intent to show any significance in my life."
So Tuesday would have been the 21st. So September 21st was the last. And can you tell me what that message said?
Yes, so we were talking like normal. She said, I saw Armando just now. He had to bring me the blower, and he was like, I think I cleared my mind enough and I'm ready to follow you back on Instagram. Because like I said, he would get overly emotional and obsessive over her. So like if she was posting and doing things and not talking to him, he would get upset and send her messages about that. So then she sent a screenshot after he left of what he said, and he basically said, everything else burnt out, but respectfully, I can't lie, I would have loved to taste you or see how it was at least once. And she said, y'all help me, what the F, like asking what she should say to that. And I was like, what do you say to that when it's coming from a crazy person?
That man is a freak. Lock him up immediately. No trial, no jury needed. Send that man to prison.
And she said, no, for real. I'm like, whoa. And I said, I would be like, let's keep it cute, friend, because I don't know what to say. And I basically said that because I was like basically like deflecting from the talk because you guys said like we're just friends.
Armando replied to that text from Mia saying, right, whatever, you out-cooled me. I really didn't take no L. Why you trying to be so cool? I get it, it's over. knew it was you making it seem like I'm making a mistake. So all the way through, I'ma let it go, just holler at you at work, bucko. But it seemed that Armando didn't take her rejection well. Mia's friend Rashid shared a similar story.
He started sending her, like, not like just like paragraphs. It was,
Wasn't he like telling the police that this guy Rashid as a witness would know that they're all chill? Just lying.
white. Like I could swipe and read it, and I like it was so much to read that I was like, dang, like I didn't obviously read through all of it, but she would show me like some of the stuff she was saying in some of the paragraphs, and how like, and I was telling her like he's crazy, you know, whatever. And then he was buying her all this stuff. He was giving her stuff like every week. He got her like these flowers that were in her room, the blue flowers, because she had, I guess he overheard like a conversation that she wanted him or something, or I saw it on her phone or something.
In another screenshot Mia shared, Armando wrote to her, and you ain't showed one concern of even giving me the opportunity to gain ground with you. If anything, every time I felt like I got closer to you the next day or the next hour, you acting colder. This ain't the grounds to the beginning of something good. I haven't been nothing but frustrated and confused the majority of the time.
Bro, what? Has she given off one sign that she was interested? Like, what? Like, how is he coming to these conclusions?
Mia wrote back, yo, I spoke to yesterday perfectly fine. Then I went out like, damn, why do you always have to act like this? Like, can you just chill? Armando texted back. If I have no reason to act like this, then you tell me one situation where you did any gesture to validate me, small or big, to make me feel special. A bagel, a...
What? Y'all are barely friends, not even dating. Why?
lunch, a real compliment. At least a real statement of what you think about me, because I'm really starting to think you cold-hearted. Armando's obsessive behavior wasn't just over texting, as Rashid explains.
One day I opened up my apartment when me was staying there, and he was outside doing something. And I remember it because I opened the door to open the door for her, and I was going to lock it behind her, and he was there, and she was like, oh, hey. He was outside my apartment.
Just standing there?
Now, he was working on something, but, like, it just progressively got weirder and weirder, and whatever. After, like, time started passing, and she started seeing, like, who he really was and stuff, she told me, like, she was kind of nervous that he had the keys to her apartment. And one time she mentioned that she left her house one time, the AC was working perfectly, and she came back a little while after, and the AC was broke. She was stuck on 79. And I know, like, the maintenance people, like, I know it's easy to mess with the AC, you feel me? And
He is messing with her apartment to get her to call for maintenance so he can come see. This is some kind of messed up level of, I don't even want to say love, just obsession.
He was the on-call person, and so I'm thinking that he like messed with the AC because she would have to call the emergency line, which he has to respond to because it's after hours. So she said that she didn't want to call him, so she went to get another maintenance guy to come fix the AC. Mm-hmm.
As Rashid shared, Mia had a good reason to be worried.
Some of my other friends have told me that he said stuff to them, like she found one of my other female friends found him like in their apartment. He was like, "What are you doing in here?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm fixing something." I remember he had said something to her. I think it was like along the lines of, "I just want to like take a nap in your bed" or something like that. Like it's weird. You feel me?
Yeah, that is weird.
After speaking to another resident at Arden Villas, it seemed that there was a pattern in Armando's behavior.
I had just gotten out of the shower too, and I heard knocking and maintenance. I didn't want to answer it because I didn't put in a report. And then I heard the door open and I heard it close. And then when I went out, they were still out there knocking, but I did hear the door open and close. I got dressed, opened the door, asked him if he needed anything. He said, "Did you put in a report for your dishwasher to be fixed?" I told him no.
Perhaps finally realizing that Armando needed to be investigated, police spoke to his boss.
Oh, now you're realizing he needs to be man.
Boss, Lemuel Arroyo.
How would you describe Armando?
I would say very peaceful guy, very easy to manage. You know, I was very happy with their performance. To keep eye contact, sometimes avoid eye contact. Now all this going on made me think, why sometimes when we're talking, he trying not look at me? I don't know.
Although he was known at work to be private, Armando had been in a bit of trouble before. Years ago, after setting off firecrackers in his college dorm, he lost his football scholarship as a result. With his job at Arden Villas, he was attempting to start fresh. Friday, the same day that Mia went missing, Lemuel noticed that Armando's body language and behavior was off when he received his work uniform.
But then when he
just out of hand,
he was shaking, even without we knowing all this was about to happen, you know.
And you've never seen that before out of him?
No.
Noel, who worked in maintenance with Armando, also saw Armando acting strange on Friday.
So he was more quiet, you thought?
He was more quiet.
Was that
I asked him, "Yo, you okay?" He said, "Yeah."
You said the change you noticed was that he just seemed more quiet.
With this in mind, investigators take a look at the records of who used the maintenance key fob. While the officer only turns on the audio of her body cam a few seconds before the following footage begins, it appears they're talking about Armando.
My biggest concern is he has right now a fob that can get him access to every apartment because he's on call. Mm-hmm. So I was going to have one of my employees just erase the fob, but the only way to do it is to literally go to each and every apartment door with a cancel key. Mm-hmm. Because unless we have the physical fob, we can't just erase it. You have to go to each individual lock and do what's called an interrogation report.
Wow.
And then load that to the computer, and it gives you the lock history of everything.
The worker from Arden Villas eventually gets the report on the lock history for Mia's apartment.
This is that. That's my on-call maintenance fob at 4:34.
So that's before, correct?
Yes. But I don't understand why he would have been there.
Is it Armando?
Yeah.
To most, this would seem like particularly damning evidence, but it only got worse.
Worse? What do you mean got worse? Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
While checking out an apartment that was set up the same as Mia's, though not her actual room, the officer asks a chilling question.
So he accessed her room at 4:30, correct? Mm-hmm. There's no service supposed to be in her room or anything like that, right?
Mm-hmm. And I don't remember if I saw that he left with that fob. She would have been home, so if he was just hanging out, now I'm like worried. What if he was literally waiting for her? They've got my head all screwed up. I cannot believe it.
Because of the record of the key fob, it was clear that 30 minutes before Mia's work shift had ended, Armando had entered her apartment, and it also seemed that he had never left, or at least there was no record of him leaving.
Wow.
Mia's key was then used to open the door at 5:06, and as the worker suspects, it looks like Armando could have been waiting for her. By reviewing the security footage, investigators spotted Armando driving a golf cart near Mia's apartment, which coincided with the times the maintenance key fob showed it was used on her front door. They also uncovered what they believed to be the last image of Mia as she walked to her apartment just before she went missing. While there was the possibility of an innocent explanation, on Thursday, September 23rd, Armando had asked Mia if she would have time to talk about something mysterious on Friday, the day she went missing. Mia had replied, "What do you want to talk about?" Armando wrote back, "It's nothing big, but if your day is busy." "It's whatever," Mia replied. "I'll let you know how my day goes." However, there was one other piece of evidence that didn't quite fit. 2 hours after Mia went into her apartment, Armando called the Arden Villa's office staff and asked to be let into the front gate as he was responding to a maintenance call that was made around 7 p.m. Just 5 minutes later, someone used Mia's key fob on the exterior lock of her apartment. It would be nearly impossible for Armando to have been at the gate of Arden Villas and then 5 minutes later unlocking Mia's door. The question was this Mia herself, and was the timeline of her disappearance a few hours later than her family believed? Or was this evidence of her kidnapper using her key fob? While the police may have still been collecting evidence, Mia's distraught family members already felt certain that they knew where to look for answers about Mia's disappearance, with Armando Caballero himself. While continuing their search for Mia, some of her family members decided to begin surveillance of their own, and they would soon uncover some of the most chilling evidence yet.
I happened to overhear Armando's address when he was giving it to the officer. And I said, I'm going to do a pit stop. Put it in the GPS, and then we continued to his house.
This is such a good aunt. I know my aunt would do this, but like less effectively.
He didn't see us at first. I made a U-turn, and I went into the parking lot across the street from him. Here's his apartment complex. Here's my vehicle facing him. That's when he started touching the indentation of his car. He tried leaving the complex last night with his lights off, and he hit another vehicle. He was touching, so his vehicle is dented.
It became clear to them that the police hadn't searched Armando's apartment yet. It was then that they once again began recording, this time catching something truly shocking on camera.
He has gloves.
He has gloves.
He has gloves
He has
in
gloves.
his hands.
He has gloves.
Gloves and what else?
The blanket.
Oh my God, that is my blanket.
As they watched, Armando carried a blanket that had once belonged to one of Mia's family members and that had since been given to Mia into his apartment.
He knows what we look like, and he's looking to see
He
who's following him or whatever. Where the are the police?
Mia, Kaylee, call them back.
I'm videotaping.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
Send me videotape too.
I'm videotaping him. That's why I can't call.
As unsettling as this discovery was, the incident with Armando was far from over.
I swear if he got away, I'm going to be so mad.
And it would only become more chilling. Later, Mia's Aunt Simone shared with detectives what had happened after they stopped filming.
Someone's got I started trembling. I couldn't drive anymore. I just pulled in. Another Hispanic guy got out of another car, 2 cars down, came across the street. He videotaped the truck, videotaped me. He took pictures of me. He took pictures of my license plate. Then he told me, get out of your truck. Get out of your truck. I didn't get out. He laughed. Crossed the street. He went back, and he does this again.
This behavior, along with the discovery of Mia's blanket, seemed to solidify, for her family at least, that Armando was behind Mia's abduction. However, this interaction with Armando would come back to haunt them in the most chilling way. Armando then left his apartment, but returned 10 minutes later. When police were able to find Armando and tell him that they wanted to look inside his apartment, he surprised everyone. He gave permission for Mia's family to search through his apartment while the police stood by.
Is it like a quilt type of blanket? Yeah, like a quilt-like blanket-like thing. So if you see it, just let me know. That'll just give more bolster to the search warrant.
It appears that this frantic search was not recorded, but Mia's family didn't find her blanket. It seemed that when Armando left, he must have disposed of the blanket. Either way, no other evidence was found. As Armando was
Damn. I'm not gonna lie, that might have been the first clever thing he's done this whole video so far.
Wasn't arrested or even brought in for questioning. In fact, soon after he ended up leaving his apartment around 3 p.m. Approximately an hour and a half later, he was officially named as a suspect in Mia's disappearance.
Oh, finally.
But to her family's frustration, he was already gone. His apartment was then secured, and at around 6 p.m., more than 24 hours after she was last seen or heard from, the Orange County Sheriff's Office released a missing persons bulletin for Mia. By now, it was becoming clear to at least some that the police knew they hadn't started their investigation as soon as they should have.
Oh, you know, check the report. I just, I mean, if they saw the blood and everything, it doesn't take long for that was the end of it. Just some miscellaneous papers and stuff. Passport, about 30 euros. Wallets, checkbook. Cards.
It was around this time that calls began flooding into the police department, but not to aid in the search for Mia, but rather because Armando's friends were calling to complain about Mia's family and their investigation.
Yesterday, they pulled up to my house. I don't know if they were following my friend Armando, because my friend Armando, supposedly he was talking to the girl that's missing. I had no idea what was going on. I came to my house, and then some fat bald guy came to my house. He was yelling at my friend, "Oh, you kidnapped my daughter! You kidnapped my daughter!" I'm like, I don't really know what the is going on. I literally just came from my girlfriend's house. What's going on? I'm like, I'm confused. He was, "Oh, my daughter's missing. He kidnapped my daughter." And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. I'm like, I'm so confused. And then they just came to my house. They were at my house and just arguing. I'm completely lost now.
But even Armando's friends had questioned him about his possible involvement in Mia's disappearance.
And I was trying to ask him, like, yo, you sure you didn't do anything? And my mom was on the phone too. I'm like, my mom was like, "Yo, you sure you didn't do anything? Are you 100% sure?" And I was trying to make sure, because that's someone's child that's missing. Yeah. I was like, "Yo, you sure you didn't do anything?" He was like, "Nah, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything." And my mom prayed for him on the phone. My mom said, "If you didn't do anything, God will protect you. And if you did something, you will reap what you sow."
Along with looking for Mia, law enforcement continued to search for the now missing Armando. Based on him using
this case is just getting all sort of out of whack.
The maintenance key fob
I can't wait to see where this
apartment
goes.
a half hour before she returned home from her shift. The search escalated when an even more disturbing piece of information was revealed. Jessica Decker, a manager at Arden Villas, had found something strange.
Then the other thing that concerned me was there was an on-call message last night at around 7:01, and the message said, "This is Tristan Thompson. It's on the first floor. It's just on the opposite side of the apartment."
Yeah.
And it said the AC was out.
Okay.
It's a female unit, and an officer went over there the evening and knocked on the door, and they didn't call emergency maintenance.
Okay.
Wow. And that concerns me because of the timing of the last fob reading, which was 7:16, where her fob was used, but nothing was locked. So we got that on call at 7:01.
Mm-hmm.
He called my leasing manager at 7:11, saying that the gate wasn't letting people in, and she had to talk him through how to manually turn it off.
It was now clear that the fake maintenance call had actually been made by Armando, and the call he made at 7:11 p.m. to the office staff to open the gate on the night of Mia's disappearance had been his attempt to establish an alibi. Police also suspected that since he was probably not actually at the gate, he was the one to use Mia's key fob.
Okay. I was calling them dumb before, but that's actually a pretty clever play. Credit where credit is due.
5 minutes later, a press conference was scheduled for 1 p.m. on Monday, September 27th, but that planned media briefing was postponed when a shocking discovery was made. Armando had finally been found, but it wasn't the result anyone was hoping for. His body was discovered.
I thought so. Yikes.
In an apartment complex in Seminole County.
On the off case he's innocent, R.I.P. bro. On the off case he's not innocent, I would say get your shit together, but, you know.
I felt so defeated, like, this was the person we wanted to talk to, to find out, like, just say something, you know what I mean? Like,
nothing in Armando's interactions with Mia's family had given any suggestion of his intention to escape justice in this way.
He was way too confident in how he was. He did not come across as discombobulated at all. He came across more like frustrated that we were bothering him.
Yeah, maybe the case.
You understand what I'm saying?
Despite this shocking development, there was still no sign of Mia.
Getting dark again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's a little girl, and she's out there by herself. You know what I mean? We don't know where she is.
I know.
We don't know if he's done something to her.
Oh, this is so sad.
We are trying.
Tragically, just over 1 week after she went missing, Mia's body was found on Saturday, October 2nd, 5 days after Armando was found dead. Mia's
terrible. That's so sad. That's so sad. That makes me upset.
His body was discovered in a wooded area behind timber scan condos in Orange County. She was found with her red purse and wallet, wearing jeans, a bra, and a robe, and a necklace with her name. Her body was mostly skeletonized and bound with black tape around her wrists, ankles, and across her mouth. Due to the state of her remains, a cause of death couldn't be determined. However, there seemed no doubt as to Armando's guilt. Mia's blood and hair was eventually found among some of Armando's belongings. According to Orange County Sheriff John Mina, "We're not looking for any other people. We believe pretty conclusively that Armando Caballero is responsible for this crime, and there's not any other person or persons that we're looking for in this case." Given the evidence, including the broken jewelry found in her room, along with bloodstains, police speculate that when Mia
That's so sad. That makes me feel so sad.
entered her apartment, Armando attacked her, and a struggle ensued. Investigators believe he killed her in the room, and then, using her bedroom window, put her body into the trunk of his car. Just 46 minutes after Mia entered her apartment at 5:06 p.m., Armando's vehicle was seen leaving Arden Villas. He then went to his apartment before returning again to Arden Villas for the fake maintenance call. Phone records and GPS data show that he then went to the woods, where Mia's body was later found. The Marcano family eventually filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Arden Villas, claiming negligence in Armando having unfettered access to Mia's apartment. They also filed a lawsuit against the sheriff's office and 2 officers for civil rights violations and negligence, describing the department as failing miserably in its duties. There has yet to be a resolution for the lawsuit. Mia's Law has been introduced to impose higher levels of background checks and limitations on the use of master keys, limiting access to private residences, and affording tenants the safety and security Mia deserved.
That is so sad. Oh, that is so sad. Ugh. Can you imagine that? Like, you're looking for your family, you can't find them, and then there's just a body. That's just terrible. Okay. Are you gonna do another one? Should we do another one? Or should we move on to the game? Nah, we'll do another one. Oh, I completely forgot to record
The following footage.
That last segment. Oof. Yikes. Sucks to suck, I guess. Anyway. Okay, what is this next one? This next one is disturbing case of the hardcore killer. Ooh, there's an... Okay. We're actually gonna record this one. Say hi to YouTube. Alright. Alright, what is this? What does this say? Disclaimer viability. All information contained in this video. Wait, before you start. We have to. Hi, YouTube. Hi, everyone. I completely forgot to record the last reaction, so you're getting the second one before we get started on what next activity. Oof. Alright, let's go.
The following footage of killer Richard Samuel McCroskey has never been seen before.
Alright, so I'm making this video because, or if anybody finds this, I really don't know what I'm trying to say, and just I'm breathtaking at what I've done, and I apologize. I know I'm gonna pay for my consequences. You know, I wish that I could.
I mean, at least he's taking accountability.
Not done this, but I just lost my mind. I snapped, and I did what I did, and I gotta pay for it now. My consequences. I'm like all shaky and stuff, but like, to anybody that finds this, tell my parents that like I love them, and I'm very sorry for doing this. And
you guys ready for a bad joke? Hope you are. Look at him. He's ginger. I'm not surprised.
There's nothing really else to say. To everybody that is probably gonna hate me for this, I'm sorry, and I had to do it. My mind just snaps.
Had to do what?
I couldn't control it anymore.
I don't see not a lick of remorse in you're smiling. You see that? Crescent smile, dark eyes, rest my case. Man, you know what? I am totally about to steal Kenji's whole flow with this one. Man, lock that thug up! Anyway, I wanted to do that so bad. Oh.
That's it. Fuck you to the big world. Fuck everybody in the world. I can't stand this place.
Richard filmed this video as he was living in the home of his victims and their rotting corpses.
Oh.
He stayed in the house with...
Oh my, that took such a turn.
Their dead bodies for days after their deaths. Neighbors began noticing a sickening stench emanating from somewhere in the neighborhood, but couldn't pin down the source. They shrugged it off, attributing the smell to a dead animal. Little did they know they were smelling 4 human bodies as they began to decompose. When Richard finally fled the house, he left behind a crime scene so horrific, police wouldn't even describe what they found beyond the victims dying of blunt force trauma. What exactly was he doing during his time in the home remains a mystery to this very day. But one thing is for certain, when he set off to visit his online friend for the first time, no one could have possibly imagined everything would take such a shocking turn.
You know what? That solidifies it. I'm never meeting any of you weirdos. I jest, maybe, actually.
20-year-old Richard Samuel McCroskey III was an aspiring horrorcore.
What's his name?
20-year-old Richard Samuel McCroskey III was
Look at him. Look at his name. Look at him. Failure, I tell you. Legitimate bum.
An aspiring horrorcore rapper who lived with his father and sister in Castro Valley, California. Richard had been relentlessly teased and harassed in high school, primarily because of his red hair and weight, but he was very submissive and
my fault. My bad, OG.
didn't fight back. As a result, he dropped out of 2 different high schools and never graduated. For a while, he worked as a graphic designer and was skilled at making websites. Many described him as a quiet young man who kept to himself, but his MySpace profile showed the juxtaposition of his online and real-world personalities. Under the names Lil Demon Dog or Psycho Sam, his MySpace page was littered with references to the underground horrorcore scene, which included obscene lyrics and various depictions of murder. You can see some of the horrorcore artwork Richard displayed in his bedroom. Many believe his stage name was inspired by an unhealthy obsession.
Interesting. Wait. Excuse me, chat. I must crack my neck. I hope you didn't hear that. Oh, my model just tweaked the hell out.
Richard Berkowitz, also known as the son of Sam, a serial killer who murdered 6 people from 1970.
Whoa, hold on. I was not paying attention. You ever been flashbanged by words? What?
He believed his stage name was inspired by an unhealthy obsession with David Richard Berkowitz, also known as the son of Sam, a serial killer who murdered 6 people from 1976 to 1977. Many of his photos show him posed in cemeteries or holding weapons such as an axe. In one video Richard posted, he is wearing a skull bandana while standing outside a Gothic church during a lightning storm and rapping lyrics about the evil voices inside my head. They just want me to murder continuously. They want me to take lives on a mass murder spree. They love the smell of a body that's rotten and decayed. That's what I think about when I'm stalking my prey.
So, like, why does it actually kind of go hard? Hold on. Before you say anything to me, hear me out. It's kind of crazy. I'm just saying. This is like something I listen. Oh, it's something I listen to, but like not in a weird way. Like in the same way I listen to Rebsy, but would never let anyone see him on my playlist.
The fact that Richard says evil voices inside my head does not necessarily mean he is hearing voices in the same way that a person with schizophrenia hears voices. While people who have schizophrenia can commit murder in response to a commanding hallucination, it doesn't seem like this was the case with Richard. People with antisocial personality disorder often have many different selves. People with APD also sort of morph into different identities, depending on the situation and what they want to achieve. For instance, they can be very charismatic in situations where they need to manipulate someone to get their way. So in Richard's case, the voices inside his head that he's referring to can simply just be his evil side or his own inner violent tendencies. As Richard's confidence within the horrorcore niche grew, he started chatting with other like-minded individuals, among them 16-year-old Emma Kelly Niederbrock, who went by the username Ragdoll.
Alright, so you wanted a video, and you made me videos, so... And he said please, so... I'll make you this video, even though I'm not gonna, like, do anything, because my room's kind of dirty, and...
Ugh. Just, ugh. I don't know what it is. Something about him incites an unfathomable eldritch rage within my very soul. Ugh, he's so annoying. We would have not gotten along. He lucky we didn't go to the same school. I would have bullied him relentlessly. That's a joke, by the way. I don't bully. I don't condone bullying. Unless they deserve it. Some people, you know what?
Yeah, I don't want to show you my dirty room.
Oh.
But this video is for Emma, because you just told me to say your name. So, I don't know.
What was his face? He just... No. Okay.
I'll make you another video once clean, I promise. Unless you just want to like see my wall, because that's not dirty, but behind me is dirty. So
stop talking.
That's not good.
Please put me out of misery. Alright, let's go.
Alright, this video is for you, Emma. The ragdoll. Amazing ragdoll. And I really don't know what to do for you on video. So I guess I'll like show you my room a little bit.
End it.
You want to see.
End the video already.
We got my door.
Oh, out of context, that's gonna sound so bad.
And then we got my addiction for energy drinks. And then we got my small underground CD collection going on right here. And then we got my wall of awesomeness that I call it. Lots of posters and flyers and a Hatchet Man charm and random stuff. A hatchet. Oh no, the battery's dying. No.
Emma lived in Farmville, Virginia with her mother, Dr.
Oh, wait. That's
battery's
like...
dying. No.
Emma lived in Farmville, Virginia with her mother, Dr. Deborah Sue Kelly, and her father, Reverend Mark Allen Niederbrock. Since middle school, she had been homeschooled and was described as a sweet and well-rounded girl. As she got a little older, Emma developed a rebellious streak and began listening to horrorcore music. To fit her new aesthetic, Emma eventually dyed her hair a vibrant pink and began to wear heavy black eye makeup. Her parents hoped that her new interest was just a phase, but they couldn't have been more wrong. Emma's father, Mark Niederbrock, was a reverend and head of Walker's...
What are these names? Who named you like this? They're setting you up for failure from the beginning.
Presbyterian Church in Hicksburg. Her mother, Deborah Kelly, was a sociology and criminology professor at Longwood University and a beloved mentor to her students. When her parents separated, Mark moved out of the family home, leaving Emma and Deborah to live there together. Still, the parents maintained an amicable relationship. However, at this point, Deborah has started to become concerned about Emma's interest in horrorcore, and so all three family members went to counseling. Emma also met one of her best friends, 18-year-old Melanie Wells, online through the popular horrorcore artist Razakel. In the horrorcore community, the artists and fans often grew close and frequently communicated online. Razakel had befriended both girls separately while chatting over MySpace. She bonded with Emma not only because of their mutual love for horrorcore, but also because they could relate on a deeper level. Both enjoyed photography, makeup, and doing hair, and they both had fathers who were Presbyterian ministers. When Razakel learned that Melanie and Emma actually lived near each other, she...
How come every time? Never mind, skipping that topic.
Decided to introduce them. Melanie used the online handle Mrs. Free Abortions, posted photos...
Just right on track with what I was about to say.
Of herself in cemeteries and listed her interests as cigarettes, alcohol, lust, restorative arts, blood and gore, and open graves. As soon as she met Emma, the girls became inseparable.
I might have to steal that. Hold on.
Emma, Melanie, and Richard were brought together through this expansive online community, and unbeknownst to the girls, their fate was sealed.
Oh.
We defiled the grave, and then lightning struck seconds ago. I think we're being warned. And now it's starting to rain. It's because we fucked up the grave. It's not my fault.
Oh,
now it's starting to rain really hard. So, peace.
Before long, the relationship between Emma and Richard turned somewhat romantic.
These people disgust me. Oh, that makes more sense about why he made that video earlier like an absolute creep. A weirdo. But you know.
However, while Richard referred to Emma as his online girlfriend, Emma may not have been as serious about him. Razikel says that Emma never referred to Richard as her boyfriend, but said they were close and getting closer. Still, they exchanged flirty messages back and forth for around a year before making plans to meet in person. The three teenagers hatched a plan to attend a horrorcore music festival in Southgate, Michigan, called Strictly for the Wicked, but they would need some help. Emma's parents weren't exactly thrilled with their daughter's music choices, and they grew more upset when Emma started writing ominous messages on her bedroom walls. However, all they
First of all, that sounds like an insane verse from a song, which I'm guessing that is. Did she write that in lipstick?
wanted was for their daughter to be safe and happy, so they chose to be supportive even if they didn't understand it. They agreed that she should attend the music festival, but only if everyone stayed at their home in Farmville, and that they would drive the trio to and from the music festival. Emma and Richard were ecstatic to meet for the first time in real life. For Richard, he was looking forward to something good finally happening to him. His own family unit had broken apart 5 months earlier when his father asked his mother to move out of their home. If this was weighing on him, he seemed to put it out of his mind by focusing on seeing Emma. On September 7th, Emma wrote on his MySpace page about her own excitement, saying, "The next time you check your MySpace, you'll be at my house. I love you so, so much, baby, forever and always. You are my one and only everything. I can't wait to see you, baby. It's like 6:17 a.m., and I've been up since 4-ish, filled with uber amounts of excitement. I can't wait."
Who says Uber? This must
I
be
leave
old.
to pick you up.
They said MySpace. Of course it's old.
Up in 5 hours. Gah, my insides feel all squishy.
Pause.
Several days before the concert on September 7th or 8th, Richard arrived in Farmville. He'd flown all the way from California just to finally meet Emma. But as we all know, things aren't always as they appear online. Emma was immediately put off by Richard's shyness and physical appearance. Even before the concert, there may have
That's mean.
been cracks forming between the once loved-up couple. But still, on September 12th, 2009, they all went to the show as they'd planned. The drive was no small feat, about 10 hours, which shows just how committed Emma's parents were to keep their 16-year-old daughter safe, or at least try to. As well, Mark and Deborah had been separated for about a year at this point, further proving their dedication to protect Emma. While on the way there, Emma posted about the trip saying, "Talk about a long-ass drive sharing the car with a preacher. It's gonna suck, but no doubt is it worth it." It isn't known for sure what exactly happened between Emma and Richard, but
I hope that match wasn't real.
some sources claim she began flirting with other boys while at the festival, and there's even a rumor that she went out of her way just to avoid him during the concert. Richard's sister later said she was told by his friends that the two even had a falling out that night. Another rumor is that they had a fight because Emma received a flirty text from another guy at the show. Given what was going to come, something unpleasant must have happened between Emma and Richard.
Goodness.
It seems like Richard may have been under the impression, or at least wanted to believe, that he and Emma were exclusively together, so naturally Richard was feeling rejected, betrayed, and even a little angry. Even so, they all returned to Farmville the next day after the concert, and things seemed to be all right. Seemed to be is the key here. Both girls logged into their MySpace accounts once they returned to the Niederbrock house. At 2:43 a.m. on Monday, September 14th, Melanie posted online that she would be home on September 16th. She even wrote about missing people at home, but she would never make it back. Her parents became worried when that date came with no word from the young woman. Her father drove to the home in Farmville where he knew she was staying, but no one answered the door after hours of waiting. The distraught parents made countless attempts to track down Melanie over the next 2 days, calling her phone, Emma's phone, and even Razikel, who hadn't seen them since they left the concert. But then they managed to get through to Richard on the phone at least 2 times. Something was off. Yet when they spoke with him, he gave them a different story every time regarding the girl's whereabouts. They called the Farmville police and requested a welfare check, but officers didn't find anything suspicious. Well, at first. That same day, Melanie's mother, Kathleen, also reached out to Mark Niederbrock and asked if he could go check out the house. He agreed, and Kathleen was relieved that she would finally have answers soon. but her relief was short-lived. Hours passed and there was still no call from Mark.
Well, yeah. This is Carmel Police Department. Okay, did you just speak with somebody at the residence?
Yes, I just spoke with, the daughter's boyfriend.
Okay, well, I don't know. My sergeant went over there and he just said that it was a young kid, boy, and that Melanie and the girl she's staying with are at the movies now. Yesterday they went to Richmond. Vehicle had broken down and the cell phone's dead and that kind of thing. So is that what he talked to you about?
What he told me, yeah, and like I said, but I don't know where the mother is. I don't know where, she's usually the one that, drives them around, and she's just disappeared. I haven't spoken to her at all. The father I talked to earlier on today,
right.
He said that he was on his way, as a matter of fact, he was on the road when I was talking to him. He was going through Farmville, he was supposed to stop at the house. I haven't heard from him since.
Okay.
Like
Well,
I said,
damn.
I'm at the point, I don't know. I don't know what to think at all.
Okay.
And him being at the movies, I just tried to call. He said that Emma tried to call, or just called him from the movies. And I tried to call the phone that he said she called from. There's no answer. It goes right into it.
Okay.
Later that night, when she still hadn't heard back, Kathleen called the police again. They arrived at the Farmville house and were greeted by Richard at the front door, who explained that the girls had left to see a movie. The officers left without looking inside the home, but naturally, Kathleen wasn't satisfied with the answer Richard had given. She called the home and once again spoke with him, but this time, instead of giving excuses, he simply stated that the girls couldn't answer the phone.
This is what doesn't make sense. My daughter was called.
Right.
So I just don't know what to think. What scared me earlier, she was saying, there was noises in the basement coming from, in the house. And, I don't know.
All right, if you don't hear anything from her, then just call us back and I'll send an officer back over there.
Okay. Yeah, it just, like I said, none of this makes any sense at all.
Why is Maple leaning like that?
I've heard that, they were supposed to be home by 9 this evening and then 10 and then, so I don't know.
All right, well, just try it, wait and see if Melanie calls you in the next hour, and if not, call us back.
Okay, I will. Thank you so much for your help.
Okay, you're welcome as well. All right, bye-bye.
Kathleen insisted that Richard call the police himself because something seemed very wrong, and surprisingly, he did. Richard called 911. However, instead of revealing anything about the girls, he complained about a strange sound coming from the basement of the home.
Follow 911.
Hey, could I have a police unit come by my house? Because I keep hearing sounds in the basement, and I'm scared to go down there and check what it is.
Okay, what kind of sounds do you hear?
Just noises, like something moving around down there. I think it's the dogs, but I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We have 2 dogs, but one of them is upstairs. I just put him up there, and the other one might be down there, but I'm not sure if it's the dog or not.
Okay, and it's in the basement. What's your name?
Sam.
Sam?
But this is in my house.
I was just about to say he looks like a weird mix of Ed Sheeran and Colby from Sam and Colby.
I'm staying at my girlfriend's house.
Okay. All right, we'll get somebody to come up there, okay?
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Police showed up once again and did a quick search of the basement, but found nothing and left. Authorities later defended their choice to leave the Niederbrock home without seeing Melanie, Emma, or either of her parents during the welfare checks because they thought Richard had reasonably answered all of their questions. Yet around that same day when neighbors walked by the home, they noted that even from the street, something smelled dead nearby, which they attributed to an animal.
Goodness.
It's both surprising and troubling that the police did so little to investigate this situation after receiving multiple phone calls about minors not being heard from in days and alleged noises in the basement. The law gives police officers the authority to act in whatever manner they deem necessary when performing welfare checks, including investigating unexpected criminal activity. The police certainly had the ability legally to do much more than they did. It seems highly unlikely that they wouldn't notice an odor that was commented on by people much further from the scene. It also seems impossible to believe that once they were inside the home, there was no evidence of a crime when 4 people had been murdered in such a violent and gruesome manner. The families of the deceased could try to sue the officers for their failure to do more to investigate. However, it's an uphill battle to do so. State laws provide police officers with protections from civil lawsuits and criminal charges. These protections are not simply defenses that the officers may raise after they're charged or sued. They effectively prevent a criminal charge or civil lawsuit from even going forward. The police have what is called qualified immunity. Qualified immunity means that police officers are protected from being sued as long as they're acting within the guidelines of their job and not acting negligently or unreasonably. This gives police officers room to do their job without the fear of lawsuits interfering.
I would say not thoroughly investigating during a welfare check against a crime scene so brutal I didn't even want to mention it is a bit negligent, if I do say so myself.
In this particular case, it could be reasonably argued that the police did in fact act negligently by not thoroughly searching
What did I just say? I'm a psychic, I tell you.
the home for the missing minors, or because they missed the wretched odor emanating from the Farmville home that was noticed
Oh yeah,
by
they
neighbors.
did say it stunk, didn't
At some
it?
point on the
Whistling.
17th, Richard made a call home. His sister said he was checking to see if his family was okay, and he ended the message with, "I love you guys." Hearing this, his sister knew something was off. They didn't say "I love you" to each other. However, because she knew her brother was someone who wouldn't kill a spider if she asked him to, she couldn't have imagined just how horribly wrong things had gone in Farmville. It's possible that Richard wasn't a very assertive individual. Maybe he was highly sensitive and fragile in many ways, unable to kill a spider.
Wow.
He may have, at one point in his life, been a rather weak person. The fact that Richard was teased and harassed in high school means that he could have developed some trauma during his adolescent years. However, teens who were bullied and subsequently traumatized typically don't grow up to become murderers. Richard appears to have had an immense amount of underlying anger and hatred that was never expressed in a healthy way. When a person remains passive against bullying or abuse, they will harbor a lot of self-hatred and, of course, hatred of others. The self-hatred develops because the person is not standing up for themselves and protecting themselves from the abuse. Helplessness and powerlessness then develop as a result. In Richard's situation, he likely felt helpless and powerless for so long after being bullied. He may have developed a mental image of himself as this tough individual that others should fear. This pretend image he developed made him feel bigger, stronger, and more powerful. This self-image likely gave him a sort of high, so he really embodied that image more and more with time. Once Richard felt betrayed by Emma, his online girlfriend, this betrayal triggered that underlying anger and hatred of others. Almost like that inner angry and violent nature remained dormant until he felt betrayed by his romantic interest. He stepped into and acted on that tough, powerful image that was really only in his mind for years, but to him it was real. To Richard, he was that strong, powerful person. It took a trigger, romantic rejection, to lead him to act on those feelings of hatred and desire for violence that he harbored for so long. Kathleen continued to call the police for help finding Melanie.
Yes, I don't know who I need to talk to, or my daughter is with a family in Farmville, Virginia, and she's been basically missing for the past 2.5 days. I can't get a hold of her. Her cell phone's turned off. What's worse is the girl that she was staying with, nobody knows where she is. Her cell phone is turned off. This daughter's boyfriend is staying there, and I've talked to him several times today, and I've gotten different stories. But my husband went down. He was supposed to pick up my daughter yesterday, and he went down there. He arrived at about 11 o'clock in the morning. He sat there for 8 hours outside the house. Nobody showed up. Nobody answered the door. I mean, we're about 4 hours away here, and I don't know what else to do. Okay, is your husband still here in Farmville? No, he's home. He came home. Oh, okay. He was going to head back down there tomorrow to pick her up, but everybody seems disappeared off the face of the earth, and I just don't know what to think. I checked the cell phone records with my cell phone company. The last time she used her cell phone, 1:28 in the morning on September 15th. And actually, she wasn't using. Somebody had called in and left her a voicemail.
After relentless calls from Kathleen, Farmville police returned the following day, September 18th. But this time, they were stopped dead in their tracks by a horrific odor emanating from behind the closed front door. Knowing that sinister smell all too well, officers swiftly entered the home and stumbled upon what they later described as a slaughterhouse. 3 bloody bodies were found brutally murdered in a downstairs bedroom, with a 4th body uncovered later in an upstairs bedroom. The unrecognizable victims were identified as Mark Niederbrock, Deborah Kelly, Emma Niederbrock, and Melanie Wells.
Oh, he killed her dad? Oh, damn.
Melanie, Emma, and Deborah had been mercilessly bludgeoned to death in their beds as they slept. Several weapons were discovered at the crime scene, but experts believe the injuries were specifically from a wooden splitting maul taken from the family's own backyard. When Mark had shown up to check on the girls, he had been attacked from behind with the same instrument. Because there was no evidence that Mark had tried to fight back, it looked as though he'd been ambushed as he entered the house. The father had been beaten so viciously that the hardwood floor under him was nearly destroyed and soaked with blood. None of the 4 victims had any defensive wounds, and all had died from blunt force trauma to the head. Both Mark and Melanie's bodies had been moved down to Emma's room with her corpse in a twisted effort to clean up. Authorities were horrified at the chilling crime scene, but more than that, they were faced with the realization that during their previous visits to the home, they had unknowingly missed the gory evidence. But something was missing. There was no sign of Richard anywhere. Earlier that same day at around 4 in the morning, Richard had stolen and crashed Mark's car. Unaware of the horrors he had committed at that time, or that the car he crashed was his getaway vehicle, a police officer issued him a summons for driving without a license. The officer even went as far as to help secure him a ride with the tow truck and simply let him go. Richard was dropped off at a convenience store around 6 a.m. by the tow truck driver, who reported that Richard had an overwhelmingly foul, putrid odor. The smell was so strong he even noticed it inside the crashed vehicle. He said Richard stunk like the devil, and he was forced to roll down the car windows and stick his head outside. The fresh air didn't help much because he still heaved visibly twice. Yet Richard didn't seem to mind the foul smell. During their trip, the driver also noticed that Richard had red marks on his neck that looked like hickeys. When he commented on them, Richard claimed that his girlfriend gave them to him. In fact, he was so comfortable with the driver that
I've been stunned into silence. Because what? And you tell me he did all of this by himself?
that he admitted the 2000 Honda he just wrecked belonged to the father of his girlfriend. Once at the convenience store, Richard then called for a cab to take him to Richmond International Airport. In a strange turn of events, on their way to the airport, the taxi was pulled over by a police officer for speeding. Apparently unconcerned, Richard had simply calmly exited the vehicle and had a smoke by the side of the road while the incident was sorted, as though he didn't have a care in the world, even after 2 very close calls with police officers. Little did anyone know the true horror he had left in his wake. Just hours after the grisly crime scene had been discovered, a man named Andres Shrim called the police. Shrim was the boyfriend of the horrorcore rapper Razakel. He went by the stage name Sectanic the Soulless, and his record label was called Serial Killin' Records. In his call to the police, Shrim said that one of Richard's friends had spoken to him recently and said that Richard was noticeably upset and that he had made some disturbing comments, including that he had killed someone, maybe even a couple of people. The police were now certain that Richard was the perpetrator in the 4 horrific murders. They circulated a photo of him from his MySpace account in an attempt to track him down. It wasn't long before officers found Richard sleeping in the baggage claim area on September 19th and arrested him before he could hop a flight back to California. The cold killer had actually left behind a piece of paper at the crime scene containing the exact address of the airport. His grand escape plan had been to wait in the airport for a flight in 2 days. At some point, he must have panicked because he attempted to buy a ticket for an earlier plane, but it was too expensive, so all he could do was wait, which is exactly how police found him.
It's just crazy. Like, stunned into silence. Got my accent came. I've never been so shocked. I switched accents. I don't. There's nothing I can say. That just that is just. (9/1909) upside to 66. Okay. Conspiracy theorist over here.
We advised you of your Miranda rights. You said you understood your rights and you signed the form saying you were willing to talk to us, and you still willing to talk to us?
Yes, but I would like to have somebody here too, like a lawyer.
Okay, that is your option. So are you invoking your right to remain silent?
Yes.
After he was arrested, it was noted that his clothing was totally caked in gore, as he hadn't changed or bathed since committing his atrocious crimes. Many pointed out after the news broke of Richard's arrest that, ironically, one of his songs was titled, "I Kill People for Real." It appears that sometimes life really does imitate art. But after his arrest, many were left with more questions than answers. While Richard claimed to have chosen the 8-pound maul as the murder weapon because he thought nobody would suffer, he also allegedly drank beer, smoked marijuana, and might have taken painkillers for a migraine headache before the killings. It's hard to know if he planned what he did next, or if it was the result of his rage because of his and Emma's faltering romance, or even if the cocktail of substances pushed him over the edge. Rather than go to trial and risk the death penalty, Richard accepted a plea deal, and almost 1 year later, he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of capital murder and 2 counts of first-degree murder. His defense attorney tried to claim that Richard expressed remorse and that he said he felt bad for what he had done. Yet as he left court, he gave onlookers a sinister, slight smirk, further proving his wickedness. Richard Samuel McCroskey III was given 4 consecutive life sentences, and as part of the plea bargain, he waived his right to an appeal. Since
Good. Put that heathen in jail. I almost stole Country's line again. Get rid of him. Sickening little shit. Anyway.
The case never went to trial, a clear motive in the savage murders has never been released. When asked why he had done it by reporters as he was brought back to Farmville, Richard had simply responded,
"How did you do it?"
Jesus told me to do it.
His sister later denied that his response was a sign of psychosis. Instead, she said that this was just his sense of humor and that he was being sarcastic. Several theories exist surrounding a possible motive for the barbaric attacks. The most popular is that Richard was either jealous of the attention Emma was giving other young men, or angry because she rejected him. If this is the case, Melanie and both of Emma's parents had tragically just been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Richard's attack on Emma's parents and her friend Melanie could have been purely due to the fact that they were present in the home, and therefore would be witnesses to what he wanted to do to Emma. It's also possible that he felt humiliated by Melanie too, and maybe by Emma's mother. When Emma decided that she wasn't interested in Richard romantically, maybe he got the cold shoulder from Emma, her mom, and Melanie. Emma's father, on the other hand, may have just literally been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Richard may have crossed a threshold when he succeeded at committing his first 3 murders, so killing one other person, Emma's father, was easier for him. This further supports Richard being a total psychopath, because if, let's say, the murders would have been an impulsive move that occurred because of his anger and obsession with Emma, a crime of passion, and because he was intoxicated, any half-normal person would be devastated and likely wouldn't have killed another person, a 4th person. However, in Richard's case, he didn't mind adding to his murder tally, even after having days to reflect on what he did, and even after spending days in the presence of those lives he ended. I believe this really shows the depths of his psychopathy. Richard could have very likely just have been a ticking time bomb.
Terrible.
It's possible that anyone that really triggered his anger and past traumas would have been the victims of murder at his hands.
This genuinely upsets me. And not even in a, sad kind of way. I'm angry at his debauchery. Put that heathen under the prison. He needs to get out of here.
In this case, it was Emma, her parents, and her friend Melanie. Maybe it was only a matter of time, and for the right circumstances to be present for Richard to finally fully embody that persona of a strong, powerful person. However, Richard reportedly told the cab driver who brought him to the airport that he'd gotten into an argument with Emma after overseeing a text message she received from a guy she met at the festival, saying he loved her and wanted to be with her. This is similar to the rumor about her texting another guy while at the concert. Richard told the cab driver that Emma had become angry with him for invading her privacy, but he claimed that to avoid arguing with her, he waited for her to fall asleep before he left. The cab driver noted that Richard seemed like a nice young man. He was very polite and well-spoken, and he spoke passionately about Emma. Of course, he'd already killed Emma at this point, at least 2 days earlier.
Wow.
The report by the cab driver reveals some important details about how people with antisocial personality disorder tend to present themselves. They can certainly be very polite and well-spoken. It's not surprising that the cab driver's initial impression of Richard was that he seemed like a nice young man. This is likely what happened with Emma. Richard was probably very charismatic.
I don't like the fact that they're describing me how someone else has described me once before, and I feel incredibly targeted.
During their online interactions. However, once she really interacted with him more closely, she probably realized the unappealing antisocial traits and didn't want to have anything to do with him, thus leading to her rejection of Richard, which then triggered his anger. It makes sense that Richard would speak about his passion for Emma to the cab driver, despite having killed Emma 2 days earlier. Sociopaths who commit murders will often refer to their victims in an affectionate way after having killed them. People with APD take possession over people and things quite frequently due to their sense of entitlement and lack of empathy or consideration for the needs and rights of others. Therefore, the fact that Richard murdered Emma could have been at least partly due to feeling that if he can't have her, no one else can. Or he may have believed that Emma could not exist if she doesn't belong to him. He wanted to get back at Emma for rejecting him. Very little evidence has ever been publicly revealed about what happened during the several days that Richard was alone in the home, with 4 rotting corpses.
Terrible piece of You know what? Fuck that guy. What a terrible piece of shit. I don't like him. He's a stupid little asshole.
He didn't move the bodies into Emma's room until after the first time the police showed up at the house for a welfare check, meaning he was living in the home while surrounded by bloody bodies. The self-recorded videos are some of the only pieces of evidence we have that tell us about Richard's state of mind during this time. What we do know is that he took the time to film himself as he contemplated taking his own life.
Alright, I'm making this video because it's in my final minutes of being alive, and to anybody that finds this, I want you to tell my parents I love them deeply, and I'm very sorry for doing this. To my brother, Sinister, aka Eric, and Emily, I love you guys deeply, and I'm sorry for going this route. I know I said I'd turn myself in, but I'm not gonna do that. I can't do that. I can't pay those consequences, so I gotta do what I gotta do.
Fucking coward. You little bitch boy. Being so mean. That's why I don't have friends. I don't like him.
Which is gonna be over there, if you can see that. I'm not gonna tell you what I'm gonna do, because I'm sure you guys know what I'm gonna do. I'm really sorry, but it came to this.
You see his smile? He smiles when he speaks, and I hate it.
But I'm gonna get going and do what I gotta do. I'm gonna pay my consequences. So my last words before I go: fuck you to the world, fuck everybody in it. I can't stand this place. Fuck your God. And no, I'm not a nut rider, but fuck your God. SKR, Wicked Intent, for life, peace.
Many were quick to blame the horrorcore genre for the mass murder because of the way the music seems to glorify murder. But supporters argue that the music is merely a dark fantasy, and only those suffering from mental health issues would carry out such a heinous act. But regardless of his musical preferences, this was a rage-fueled attack against a teacher, pastor, daughter, and friend at the hands of absolute evil. The Farmville community will forever remember and mourn the losses of those 4 innocent lives.
That is just downright disgusting. Hold on. I use the phrase hatred. Have I not appeared yet? What? Why have I not shown up on the thing yet? That was weird. Anyway, as I was saying, I use the term hatred very lightly. But I think I may genuinely have a deep-filled hatred for that young boy. Anyway.